Hello friends, welcome back to Data Center Guru Knowledge Platform Knowing A to Z of Data Center. So today is very interesting topic, data center quality planning and governance, because specifically in Indian data center industry, we find a major gap in quality of project delivery of data center projects, and which has been actually raised big concerns by even hyperscalers with data center operators, and operators are trying to cope up with this particular quality aspect of it. So I did a lot of homework in it and try to find out what is the problem or what is the challenge which this industry is facing, and why we are not able to come up to the expectations of our customers. So I also did a lot of study on the quality management systems. So obviously quality management system is not only for the projects, it's for the complete life cycle. In this particular session is this is we are build stage of the data center life cycle, and in the build stage, what is the quality aspect which we need to take care of it, and how we make sure that the quality aspects of the project delivery of data centers are met. So moving to again the same thing like definition. So definition of the quality is planning and governance is part of quality management system, which is much larger in aspects which cover the entire life cycle and entire domain. When you talk about data center, all the layers of data center and the entire life cycle. So, quality planning and governance in the project perspective is part of the quality management system, which is applied during the build stage, and this helps, or not only helps, ensures that whatever you plan, the outcomes are as per that specification at the design. So typically, it completely bridges the gaps between the plan versus actual. So what is there on the paper? This process, quality planning and governance, ensures that the actual implementation is done as per the plan, what is expected in the beginning. So obviously that is the reason why this is a very important aspect of a data center build part of it. So broadly, if you talk about why this quality management system or quality planning and governance in project system, so there are a few data points which has been published by different researchers who does a lot of research on data center life cycle, and the few data points I would like to bring, so that will give you clarity in terms of why do we need to do all this, which we are missing drastically in India. So more than one third of outages still in the data centers are attributable to facility. Earlier these outages were around 50%. So obviously globally there has been a lot of things done, and we have reduced that attribution of the facility to 30%, but still that is very high. And one fifth of the outages are attributable to human error. That means the person who was handling the specific role, he did not know, or he did something wrong, or he could not able to respond on the specific situation. So that is another part. In India, as I said in the beginning, we lack a quality culture, and we don't follow any quality management plan. We don't have any plan itself. So what to follow? So that is something which, and in India, let me tell you, quote unquote, more than 90% of the projects gets compromised outcome. That means whatever you plan in the beginning, you don't get at the end of the project. 90% of the projects. So you can imagine the kind of issues which we have. Then also we have a reactive mindset. We don't act proactively because this is quality is kind of a proactive measure to even eliminate such kind of issues. So we have a still reactive mindset in part of our part of the world, and the very necessary to get the best value out of is typically this is a triangle: scope, cost, and time. And if you want to get the best value, is this is one of the tool, this is one of the process which helps you achieving that. So that's what I said. You plan something, you did not get 100% of what you planned. So that's a compromised outcome. So this helps you bridging that gap. So what you plan, you get at the end of the project. So what is this quality management process? So first thing I would like to say is the first life cycle you see, this is data center life cycle. This quality management system applies at all the stages of the data center project. In assessment phase, you have a quality management system. Design, build, operate, optimize. So each and every stages had got this plan, and similarly, each and every data center building block and the component has got this. So if you look at the quality management system as a whole for the entire data center building block and the complete life cycle, it's big and comprehensive. And maybe that is the reason people are not easily or adapting to it, this entire process. So what industry is doing, it's like a bits and pieces, not a comprehensive approach which we have been following, which delivers the result what I talked in my previous slides. So in the quality management system, if you see the overall cycle, typically 4 blocks, we call it quality management 4 quadrant also. So starts with plan, then you implement. Once implemented, you check, and whatever issues you find during the check, then somebody has to act and rectify it. And this cycle, that's how it moves around. So if you talk about the specific to this project, so in planning, you assess the requirement, site, and the design documentations, specifications, develop a detailed quality plan, process, checklist, etc. Then in do, what you do is typically there are multiple stakeholders in the project. So you train them, you communicate the entire plan to them, train them how to use it adequately. And whenever the project is being implemented, then there are 2 ways. One is the quality assurance part, where it is not only just control, but there is a supervision done on the site, so that whatever implementation or whatever material which is coming in the site is typically on supervision on a continuous basis to ensure that there is no gap. And second, also the inspection on time to time basis, so that if there is a gap, you identify those gaps in much advanced stage so that it gets rectified. Third block is about check, that is audit. So somebody comes on a agreed frequency, it has to be an independent agency, independent and competent body who doesn't have much of link with the project, so that he comes, audit the entire thing as per the quality plan and matrices for different items, component, different stages of the project, and gives you the report. So in the report, obviously there are something which is accepted because it complied with all the requirements of the plan and the matrices. It may also have rejected. So reject why it was rejected. So there has to be a reason, and that rectification job happens in the act part of it. So analysis on quality gaps, then corrective actions happened, and then after corrective action again it is audited to ensure that those corrective actions are clear and you move to the next cycle. So that's how the entire quality management system works. Now we come back to quality management framework. So this framework specifically I have developed for quality planning and governance during the project or build stage of the data center. So if you see on the top the horizontal part, so there you find different stages of the quality management systems. So typically the 4 stages are broken into multiple for more clarity and also better control on the entire process. If you see the vertical in the left hand side, these are the stages of the project. So if you talk about the stage of the project, you start with supply of material, and then installation and testing commissioning, right? There are broadly 3 stages. So all the 3 stages, these particular activities are applicable. So let us start with the first stage. So assessment phase. As I said, assessment phase is to first set the benchmark, understand the requirement and objective from the customer, understand or review the entire design, review the entire specifications, schedule, cost, even visit the site. So these are the inputs which is required to create the plan, quality plan for data center projects. So once you do the detailed assessment of all these parameters which is mentioned in this brownish color tag, then you move to the planning stage. And let me tell you, obviously assessment phase is common, so normally it is done in the beginning of the project. Similarly, planning phase is done in the beginning of the project, and it happens across the life cycle because there can be changes in the specifications and so on through the change management process of the project, and that needs to be incorporated in the quality plan. Planning phase, you develop the entire quality process. Second, you identify the resources who would be involved in the quality, different stages of the quality management process. You also form a committee in the quality management process, and the project team and this project stakeholder or sponsor can be part of this committee, because there are certain decisions which needs to be taken at different stages of the project. Hence this committee is required, because quality team may not be able to take all those decisions. Then create a detailed plan, checklist, as handy as possible, so that people can be able to use it more effectively. Create matrices against each and every item's components or different stages of the project, so that you are able to measure those parameters against those specific systems or the component. You create a tagging process, so when you do this inspection or the check, then you tag it with success, failed, pass, partial, and accordingly, because that is a part of the entire documentation process. Create a checklist, create a log, what are the issues which you have identified. So create a log or a register. Then write test scripts. If let us say you are doing a factory witness, so what are the tests you are going to witness? If some material comes to the site, then what test you want to do to ensure that it is healthy? Similarly, something installed, what is the test you want to conduct to ensure that this is properly installed and it is meeting the criteria, right? Similarly, then very important part is the training program. So whatever plan you create, if the plan is not able to be implemented, and one of the key parameters for success of the implementation is the training. So create a proper training program for different kind of stakeholders in this project and then train them so that they are able to run this particular program successfully, use it effectively on the site. Then the fourth block on the horizontal chain, if you see, is witness. So witness is typically coming under the check part of it. Okay. So witness, it starts from, let us say, the factory. Any material which is coming from the factory. So obviously the captive equipments require factory acceptance test, or somebody or competent agency has to go and witness the test of that particular equipment so that it is performing to the required specifications what we are looking at. So we develop the test script in the planning phase. We share with the respective factory or OEM, and once they are ready, they invite the people to go and witness the set. Sometimes it also happens that a lot of materials are coming, so witness becomes difficult. So you may ask those OEM to do those factory tests themselves as per the test scripts or whatever is given. Take the test reports and see the test reports are in line with the requirements. So in witness, in the factory, what we do the factory witness test. We also review the factory witness test report. If the number of components of the same repeat thing is number of high, you can do the sampling process also and check the reports and accordingly provide the clearance. If there is a gap or 100% test demonstration they could not able to provide, then it has to be redone. So this is something which a witness is one activity we just check. So controlling is another stage where we don't clear till the point is met. Okay. Similarly, when you go to the material which is delivered on the site, then what are the things you do? Similarly, sampling process we apply. You check the material quality, you check the material health whenever it landed on the site, based on in line with the quality plan, and then you provide the clearance and provide the time accordingly. Similarly, once you get into this installed phase where the installation is problem, so obviously there are 3 stages. One is supervision, which project does on a continuous basis so that the equipments or components are being installed based on the quality plan. Then also there is a quality inspectors on the site who checks on a time-to-time basis on the site to ensure that they are really complying to the requirement. And if there is any corrections, then they do it on the site, and then only it get passed. And they report it accordingly. Now the 5th stage is the controlling phase. So they witness and just give you a report. The controlling phase decides what next. So controlling phase evaluates the report given by the witness stage, and then they decide they need to resubmit or redo those tests or refurnish those requirements to substantiate their claim on the pass. So this activity has to continue till they meet the quality plan criteria which is created in the beginning, and it is applicable for all the 3 phases. So this control phase is typically to ensure that there is no slipover happening from, let us say, factory inspection problem, they have to fix before the material get dispatched so that there is no spillover. Similarly, if the material lands on the site, it gets checked. If there is a problem, then once it gets rectified, then only move to the next stage of installation. Otherwise, it gets rejected, you have to get returned. Similarly, on the installation phase. So this typically ensures that the problem gets identified at the right stage and gets killed at that stage only, so that you doesn't spill over or move to the another stage which are without catching it up. Entire end of it, if you see the vertical which is making it entire thing impact, is publish reports and dashboards. Very, very important to all the stakeholders. So these are the different type of reports and dashboards published for different kind of stakeholders. So people should know what is happening on the project from the quality perspective. If you see on the left hand side, analysis and recommendations. So it is not only just we are throwing reports to the customer. We need to analyze the problem and also put forward the recommendations to the customers or the committee, so that committee can take a decision and move ahead. So it is a complete framework which ensures that whatever you plan, you get at the end of the day. So this is what is the data center quality management framework. I don't think you'll find such kind of thing on the Google, because it has been created or customized by me itself. So with this, I end this session on the quality planning and governance of project. And in my next session, I plan to talk about a very, very important session again, top 10 design build RFP considerations. I think this is what we found and observed that, and why I am selecting this topic, and it is also more appropriate before the design build phase starts. So during the build phase only, this falls under the initiation phase of the build phase, where when you prepare the RFP and then invite suppliers or the contractor to take care of it. Let me tell you a few data points before, so that you know what exactly and why we are talking about this topic. More than 70% of the project conflicts which happens, or the change order which is signed with the customer, are attributable to inadequate content in the RFP. Similarly, more than 30% of the troubled projects, if you analyze, are attributable to inadequate RFP. So that is the reason it becomes very, very important to have right content in the RFP. And not only the content, you run the entire RFP process till award of the project to your partner adequately and properly. So what are those parameters? What are those things which needs to be considered? And that's what we are talking about, these 10 considerations. So let's catch up in the next session on very interesting topic, top 10 design build RFP considerations. So with this, I would like to end my today's session, and I would be really pleased to have your feedback and inputs. And I know I have got a lot of input, even calls from a different even part of the world, appreciating that this kind of session is really interesting and really fruitful, not only for the data center industry, but more fruitful for the people outside the data center industry who doesn't know this about data center, and that is really giving a lot of knowledge and building their confidence around the data center part of it. So keep on watching. So thanks again. Have a great day, great evening. Bye bye. Bye for now.